Hello, my name is Lucille Burkett. I'm a lawyer and I'm here to talk to you about the resolution of business conflicts using the law. The law has two main functions in the resolution of conflicts. The first is the application of the substantive law to the dispute. In business disputes, you're looking at commercial law, contracts, business relationships, partnerships, shareholder agreements. There are statutes or legislations that govern business relationships, such as the Business Corporations Act. And there's also judge-made law or common law. The issues which arise in conflicts include, was there an offer and acceptance to the contract? Did the parties intend to be legally bound? What was the consideration? What are the terms? What are the terms that are implied by law? What remedies are there for non-completion or for an unsatisfactory job? Of course, it would be important to have a written contract, but an oral contract can be legally binding. The issues which arise between business partners are governed by their written shareholder or partnership agreement and also by the Business Corporations Act. The substantive law is useful in helping the parties to the dispute to weigh what a court might do against what options they have for settlement out of court. In mediation terms, that's their BATNA and WATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement and their worst alternative to a negotiated agreement. So the law falls into disputes in that way. The other thing that the law does is it's a process. And when you're talking about business disputes, you're talking about basically civil procedure. And civil procedure is governed by rules of court and judge-made law. In Alberta, there are two courts that you can take your dispute to. There's the Provincial Court of Alberta, which handles disputes that are $25,000 or less. And then there's the Court of Queen's Bench, which you would go to if your dispute was more than $25,000 or if you wanted other remedies such as a injunction to stop things from happening or an order that the job be finished, specific performance. The process of law, or the legal process, is very formal. There are very strict rules, there are deadlines, there are ways that things have to be done. They're highly formalized procedures. The outcome in a dispute in civil procedure or a business dispute that was resolved by the courts would be determined by a judge. The parties are there to present their case. There are rules of evidence as to what information they can bring towards the court. There are rules about the documents that can be used. There are procedures for discovering what the other person has as evidence, and it's very regulated in that way. The judge makes a decision based on the evidence and the burden of proof. The burden of proof is that the person wanting to prove their claim has to do so on a balance of probabilities. The thing about a judge-made decision is that you are probably stuck with it. There are other ways to deal with it, such as going back to settling between yourselves. And why would you do that? There is the possibility of an appeal. In Alberta, there's the Court of Appeal, and then to Canada, the Supreme Court of Canada. You can't just appeal because you don't like the judge's decision. You pretty much have to show that there was a mistake made or that there was an error in law. Very narrow circumstances for an appeal to be heard. To the Supreme Court of Canada, an appeal must have nationwide importance for them to consider it. Often in business disputes, there are other areas of law that are touched upon. For example, if someone has, one of the partners has stolen from the company, there may be criminal charges laid, and you may end up in criminal court following criminal procedures. The difference between civil procedure and criminal procedure is that in civil procedure, it is two citizens, two parties asking the court to resolve their dispute. In criminal procedure, it is the state, the Queen, Regina, who is the prosecutor of the citizen for a crime committed. And crimes in business may fall not only under the criminal code, but there are securities laws, there are environmental protection laws, income tax laws that you could run afoul of and find yourself facing the Queen. The other area where we see business disputes, and this is an area I'm familiar with as a family law lawyer, is in marriage situations. So the partners are married, things aren't going well in the marriage, and so you have to deal then with the business. And you're dealing with the business either as partnerships and how do we unwind this business, or from the perspective of one person has a business and the other spouse is then looking at what are they entitled to in terms of the value out of that business. So that's how the law interacts in business disputes, and that's it.